talks about an eventual withdrawal of the United Nations peacekeeping force in the Democratic Republic of the Congo began gaining momentum a year ago. The 16,000-strong force, known as MONUSCO, may be reassigned to other missions, but for now, the drawdown from the DRC has begun. Correspondent Christophe Kamringa has the story.
UN troops were deployed to the DRC in 1999 to oversee a ceasefire in a conflict that left more than 5 million people dead. Their mandate is to protect civilians and support the DRC government to stabilize the country. But conflicts have continued in eastern DRC. The UN estimates there are more than 100 armed groups fighting over land and the control of mineral resources. The UN Secretary General has now proposed a plan to start the gradual withdrawal of troops.
The first step, I would say, to this drawdown is to leave Kasai, the Kasai provinces. The military presence there has just finished end of October, so just a few days ago, to be replaced temporarily by a strengthened police presence in the Kasai. 300 police are now being deployed and will stay there until June 2021, which is when we aim at closing Kasai, our presence in Kasai. Then in 2022, we aim again at closing or at reducing our presence in Tanganyika province to concentrate and focus our efforts on the 3 remaining provinces that are where the conflict is the most complex and where the situation is the most difficult. That's Ituri province and North and South Kivu.
The peacekeeping mission known as MONUSCO came under sharp criticism last year for failing to protect civilians from rebels in the eastern city of Beni. Some Congolese citizens are happy the troops will start leaving the country.
It has been long. We have been waiting for the withdrawal of those troops, but since the Secretary General is now committed to doing it, I think that's like we have been waiting for a kid to be born. Now we think this is the right time because they had delayed so far.
The UN peacekeepers' gradual withdrawal comes at a time when attacks against civilians in the east and the northeast have increased. This security analyst in Kinshasa believes it's time for the UN troops to start leaving the country.
Oui, la MONUSCO est dans notre pays depuis plus de 20 ans.
MONUSCO has been in our country for more than 20 years. We have been following their operations, but we still see a big problem in the execution of their mandate to protect civilians. I personally haven't seen how MONUSCO has been protecting civilians. I think it's time for them to allow the Congolese government to handle its responsibility.
Last year, the Congolese army launched an offensive against armed groups like the Allied Democratic Forces. The ADF has been accused of killing many civilians in eastern DRC, but the army crackdown has resulted in retaliatory attacks against civilians.
The UN peacekeeping mission is the largest and 3rd most expensive in the world. The troops have been trying to pacify the east of the country for 2 decades but haven't been successful. The DRC president believes it's time for the UN troops to start gradually leaving his country. He's asked the UN to support the Congolese army to take over the role of protecting civilians.